main topic at hand, how to break up with a client, or maybe possibly more specifically, how to know when to break up with a client. Because I think there's two parts there that's really critical if you work in sales. There's the feeling that it's time to break up, and then there's the actual act of breaking up. Yeah. And what I'm going to put out there is some of the things that we're going to be sharing today on today's episode might sound very familiar if you've ever broken up with a significant other. And the reason why I say that is because so often in life, relationships, whether they're personal or professional, there's a lot of crossover. There's a lot of similarities in a professional relationship as there is with a personal one. And breaking up with a professional relationship can arguably hurt just as much as breaking up with a personal relationship, as funny as that may sound. Now, you might meet some people out there, and Gino, I'm going to ask you this question. If you've ever met someone who just, they have like a stone wall kind of like attitude, and they can just really be stone cold, ice cold when it comes to work stuff, and absolutely nothing can get through to them. But have you met anyone like that? Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It's funny. I have, but the ones that I remember, the sale went through.
Okay.
And it was just basically like, yes. Like, I'm like, okay, is this person getting mad at me? I don't know. And they just keep answering yes, or give me the card. They give me their card.
Right.
And that's very weird.
Yeah.
I almost feel bad. I'm like, okay, like, I guess, like, did I do something wrong? No, that's just how I am.
That's funny. That is too funny. Well, usually relationships in sales, or I should say a sale begins with a relationship, right? And so when the relationship is high vibes and high energy, then transactions can get done, right? Whereas when it is low energy, or as you say, very cold, very stale, that's typically, you don't see progress take place like that. And so I'll speak for myself, here at AdSemble, which is the parent company of the Ad Hero podcast, we help clients with digital out-of-home advertising, digital billboard advertising, programmatic out-of-home advertising, do all those great things. And every single one of those relationships I take really to heart. When I'm interacting with a client, I get really excited to meet with a client. I know you too. You do as well, Gino. Mm-hmm. And so, anyways, I think there's 3 key things to know about in this process of knowing when to break up with a client and how to do it. And in order to figure that out, the 3 key things are: 1, every relationship needs to be valued from both sides. All right, and we're gonna little by little just kind of poke our heads in each one of these topics right here. Every relationship needs to be valued from both sides. There are a million fish in the sea. That's point number 2. There's a million fish in the sea. And number 3, no amount of money is worth your personal health. All right? So those are 3 key things to be on alert for, to be watching out for. Those are some signs that it may be time to break up with a client, and then we're going to give you some pointers about how to do that, right? So let me just peel back each one of those, and then I'm going to let Gino come in and explain how you go ahead and break up with a client, right?
Oh, well, thank you.
You're welcome. So every relationship needs to be valued from both sides, right? You have a valuable service that you are offering somebody, okay? They may be coming to you in need of that service, but you are the one providing that service. And so it's a very copacetic relationship because they want the service, you have the service to provide. It helps your business grow if you make a sale and get a customer, hopefully for life. And so that's a good thing right out of the gate, right? But where it can immediately take a turn for the worse is if the person coming to you for the service starts kind of like bossing you around or having these exuberant demands on your time and energy because they feel like, hey, I'm paying you for I'm paying for this, so you have to bend over backwards for me.
Or threats.
And you might see this a lot maybe in really high tense situations. Like a perfect example might be like if you hired a lawyer to settle a divorce or settle something in a personal matter, and that lawyer, you don't feel is maybe doing the best job or getting you the most results that you think they could be getting, you might come to that table and be like, hey, I'm paying you to get me out of this jam, this personal jam or this divorce situation. I'm really pissed off that, you're not getting me as good of a deal as I think I should get, right? Now, if you're the lawyer in that situation, where do you draw the line and say, hey, listen, I am doing the best job I can. If you don't like it, take a hike, that type of thing, right? So the point being is every relationship needs to be valued from both sides. Point number 2 there are a million fish in the sea, right? And Gino, let me just ask you, what do you infer that means? There's a million fish in the sea.
What that means is you have to keep your, if I can quote Grant Cardone, you have to keep your funnel full. And there is someone out there that will want your product, that will want to hear what you have to say.
In a respectful way.
In a respectful way. That's true. So you got to keep your funnel full. You got to keep talking to people. It's really about the mindset.
In other words, don't let that one irate customer make you feel like they're the only person out there who can buy what you have to sell. Would you say that's a true statement?
Because if they're coming back at you like, well, I can just go somewhere else with the same services, and you should just return if it's going to be like that hostile, then you should probably return it back and be like, well, you could, and I'll just find someone else who wants to talk to me or my services.
That's right. And finally, there's no amount of money that's worth your personal health. So again, going back to that situation about the lawyer, something like that. I mean, you got someone coming at you because they paid you, several hundred thousands of dollars to negotiate something or settle something, and they're coming at you morning, day, night with aggressive text messages and just a lot of hate and anger and vengeance because of their situation that they are in. If you go home at the end of the night feeling distressed, feeling emotionally drained, feeling sad and like depressed that maybe I'm not doing as good a job as I could. This person's telling me I suck. If that's causing you to have like health issues, you got to see that as a major sign that you got to get yourself out of that situation, because we are all here on planet Earth for only such a short amount of time. I just saw yesterday the tragic passing of Alex Trebek. And I love watching Alex Trebek on Jeopardy. Everything else died of, I think it was pancreatic cancer, if I'm not mistaken.
That was it.
I mean, look at that, right? I mean, no amount of money is worth you putting health concerns on yourself where that's going to pull you down and wear you down, right? No. Okay, so those are 3 key things that you have to be watching out for at all times. And if any one of those things happens, then you want to sit down and have the talk. Okay, so Gino, I had a personal situation where a client was really, really being aggressive at me and not valuing my time. The teeter-tot was unbalanced, so to speak, and I'm feeling heartache from it, and I'm not sleeping well as a result of it. And I'm very confident that there's other fish in the sea that will respect me and will respect our product and respect our time, not ghost us on calls or just be assholes in general, right? So now I'm ready to break up with this client. What are some pointers? What should I do?
Well, according to a couple sources, Forbes and Entrepreneur.com, some things you would want to do is avoid saying the word you. You basically want to keep it very high level, very professional. It's not we, like, no, it's us, or it is we and us, not you. You don't want to because here's the other thing too, is that you don't want to discredit that person too bad, because you know what, you just might be working with that person again in the future. And in fact, that's kind of happened to me before a very long time ago. You want to have empathy. You want to become out the better man or woman.
Okay.
Overall.
All right.
You might see them, like I said before, you might see them in the future. So you can actually make recommendations or referrals. There's a funny little story I have about that with someone else in sales. And I don't know if we have time. We probably don't. But anyway, it was just if you recommend somebody, sometimes those recommendations can actually help you with the sale and retain the sale, especially if you're in law. I can explain it in the comments below on YouTube. And you want to make sure that you have responsibility and be transparent about it, because if you're going to be the one who breaks up, have the confidence to do it. Don't be wishy-washy about it. And don't let it drag out. Finally, this is the last thing. Do it immediately, because if you don't do it immediately, according to these sources, it's going to weigh more on your health and your mind, and you don't want that. You got to continue to move forward in your sales.
Right. So, in other words, you're watching out for these 3 signs, and when you're ready to make that decision to break up with this client and just go somewhere else with somebody else who's going to respect you and love you and appreciate you more, don't drag it out. Sit down, have the talk. Basically, if I could loose paraphrase, it may sound something like this. Listen, Mr. Client X, we've had a great relationship together. We have done a lot of great things together. We've had a lot of fun working with you. There's obviously been a lot of progress. There's been a lot of success. But as of late, I kind of feel that this relationship between us, I'm feeling like I'm not being, and we are not being as valued, meaning myself and the company. We are not being as valued for the services that we are providing you. And so we have, thankfully, many other clients that we are working with right now. And as a result of that, we are actually going to make the decision to part ways with working with you.
Am I being fired right now? No.
You're
that
fired.
was good.
You're fired. So you again, you want to use the we. You want to say this and this.
Right.
We want to be empathetic. If something changes down the road where we can come back into contact and work with you again, we're fine to do that. But as of right now, we really need to put a focus on clients who we feel are appreciative of what we bring to the table for them.
That's right.
All right, and no amount of money is going to change that. It's just in our culture about who we are.
Let us know what you think with the comments below. Let us know your thoughts. Matthew.
Yeah, my final thoughts are basically just watch out for those situations where you're not being appreciated. That's a big deal. I mean, listen, nobody is ever going to tell you. The reason why we wanted to make this particular episode is because it's very rare that a company breaks up with a client. All right? Usually the client breaks up with the company. But there are some instances where people are just so rude and so aggressive that you have to do the breaking up yourself. And so we hope these 3 pointers made sense. Drop us a line if you want any other additional feedback on it, but definitely break up with someone who's not treating you and taking good care of you.